Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Rico.
I'm Tony.
And this is the podcast known as Relatively Sound, the podcast that is reaching for the sky. Today, Tony and I are back with our album for album series because lately that is just the most fun we've had doing the podcast. And it's also just a nice, easy routine for us while we've been really busy with our lives outside of the podcast. So hopefully maybe next year, Tony, we can kind of get back to doing some themed episodes and whatnot. But I've been really enjoying getting into new music, new artists or albums from artists that we have listened to before, first time only on the podcast. And that is what's happening today. Today it's my pick, and you are getting a second album from a band you've already reacted to. Well, not reacted to, but we've done an episode before on them. And I'm not even going to have you guess, and I'm not even play any bullshit games today. I'm just going to say you are reacting to Death Cab For Cutie's album, Asphalt Meadows.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm keeping this brief because I'll get into some of it at the end. I am not going to tell you what to expect. I'm not going to tell you any concerns or promises I have because lately that's just been not doing the albums any justice. So the only
bro thinks he's gonna show me the elixir of life right now.
No. I'm just saying I'm not gonna worry about of why I'm giving you this album or telling you. All I'm going to tell you is the small little info that you probably need to know. This album came out 2 years ago, 2022, and it is their 10th album, and it is their second album after their guitarist Chris Walla left the band. You've only heard Narrow Stairs before. If you haven't listened to that episode, you can go watch it, and Tony gives his views on Narrow Stairs, his first and only Death Cab album he's heard in its entirety. And this is Asphalt Meadows, and it's their second album with the two newer members to the band, Zach Ray, who is their keyboardist / guitarist, and then Dave Depper, who is mostly the guitarist, but he also does keyboards. Him and Zach both kind of do keyboards and guitars. So,
are they still playing with the band?
Yeah, they joined officially on the album before this. Thank You For Today, and this is their second album with them. And they're.
So, how many albums after Narrow Stairs is this?
So after Narrow Stairs, we got the album.
When was that released there?
2008. 2008. And then you had an EP that went with that. Then you had Codes and Keys in 2011. And then the last album with guitarist Chris Walla was Kintsugi in 2015, although I don't think he plays on the album, he just produced it. And then 2018 was the first one without their guitarist, called Thank You For Today. Pandemic happened, and they wrote some of this album, Asphalt Meadows, the one you're reacting to today, during the pandemic, during quarantine, and came out in 2022. So,
newest pick we've done in a while.
Yeah, and I'm going to save my thoughts and what I think of the album and why I chose it over other Death Cab albums after. I think we should just hop right into it,
Let's do it.
So, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music, definitely go to our YouTube page, Relatively Sound Podcast, to watch an edited reaction, Tony's first reaction to Death Cab For Cutie's album, Asphalt Meadows. So, let's go give the album a listen. Opening track to Asphalt Meadows is the track titled, I Don't Know How I Survive.
So you got a groovy riff, you got a very, drum machine sounding kit, very reverbed out. I like that guitar tone. Vocals still sound good, sound like the dude, sound like Ben. Hey, that's pretty fun. I'm gonna say some things there that are really gonna upset you.
Okay.
I'm liking it though so far. I don't love that I don't know if I love the clapping on this, particularly at the end of the lines. Feels, I don't know, a little cheesy. I like the guitar that comes in. Like very like 90s sort of like emo, like post-grungy kind of progression thing. Sounds really full, but kind of glitchy with the guitars, which is cool. I like that. Kind of scratchy, kind of like the speakers ripping. Having the like percussion or whatever that is in the back is nice. Solo. Reminded me a lot of Early Bird from the Frames at the ending. Things get real screaming. Overall, okay, yeah, I like that. Overall, I think that was good. As an opener, you know, it's hard to rank an opener. I don't think it's a bad opener so far, but I think, you know, as I hear more of the album, I'll be able to more conclusively say if I like it as an opener or not. I think the highlight of the song was honestly just that riff for me. Boo doo boo doo doo doo. That's catchy. It sounds good with the production of the other things. It gets really loud. Dynamic changes are always great. Yeah, I mean, definitely has a much more modern approach, which, you know, makes sense, and it should be more modern. You know, don't live in the past. Well, don't do the same thing over and over is what I mean. You know. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I was gonna say is that in a lot of ways, I'm noticing elements that were in some of the songs I was playing for Anna's set. So, for example, the sudden distortion coming in, like that is something I'm seeing in that genre. Some of those leads, like there was one which I liked actually a lot, the in the second verse, like a kind of like a real like kind of picky guitar thing. That's nice. Okay, let's keep this ball moving, because I have a feeling flow might be kind of important with this album. Not maybe important, but I think it will benefit.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. I'll spoil it. There's no segues. Like, there's no times where I'll need you to like perfectly. But yeah,
but when I hear a song like this, it's kind of like, okay, what's next?
True. Well, so
let's satisfy that itch with song 2, which is going to be called what? Roman Candles. What all disappears?
I don't know.
This feels very Death Cab. Like the melody. Okay, the harmonized bending. You should hate that.
I might have just liked it on our first listen.
Look at the chord progression underneath, so very much just this part doesn't fit. Let's play it over it. I like this guitar a lot in the left ear. Reverb out. I think it sounds really nice. This right here reminds me of like what I can remember from some of the later Killer albums.
Okay.
Okay, they've been managing to keep picking up energy as we go.
All right, well, that was Roman Candles and the first single from the album.
Yeah, okay, so I was kind of puzzled throughout because, I mean, it became apparent that this was a building song, you know, kind of halfway through. But I couldn't tell if it was one of those building songs where there's, like, the core of the song, which sounds like the bass and the vocal. If it's one of those songs where that remains the same and everything's just getting added around it, or was that foundation of the song also going to change parts or something? It seemed more like the former there. I don't have much to say about the song right now. It didn't necessarily speak to me. I don't think it was bad. I think it's interesting that they went for the abrasive, like micro bends on the guitar, like the gradual bend.
It's an odd
I'm gonna
song.
be shocked if you say that's in your top half of the album. I'd be shocked if you said that.
It had to really grow on me.
I'm sure live. I'm not sure if they do this one live, but I imagine live the song would be awesome.
All right, so the next track on the album is the title track, Asphalt Meadows.
All right, so it sounds like we're gonna get our first like real song, Okay, song's in 10. I like the descending bass thing. It works. It almost feels unnecessary at first, but not complaining at all. Yeah, I'm okay with that major chord at the end. Now we're in 4, the song's driving again. I wonder, even though this is more driving, I wonder if they're holding back a little, though, and it's going to get bigger later. I'm hoping, but we'll see. I'm back with the piano. That was a good way to come back. I like that. Good ending to that B section, the chorus. Okay, change in instrumentation, production. Sounds good. It's pretty. Yeah, that's a crisp change. I like that guitar tone. I do like that line. We rode a wave of white noise beneath the city sleeping. I do like this. Probably my favorite part. This little like ending.
I think it's my favorite part too, honestly.
Vocals sound really good there. I like the harmonies on it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was definitely the most just straight up. Here's a song. I liked it. I gotta say, so far, I don't think any lyrics are bad or anything. Like, I do like the line I mentioned. I also like, and I was a snake under your flowers.
Yeah.
That's a cool line.
Not Lita approved though.
Not Lita approved. No, she said worst on the album. Yeah. Okay. So right now, I worry that this album's gonna be one of those ones where maybe through production and maybe composition, some of the songs are not gonna, it's gonna take a little bit to distinguish the songs for me.
Yeah.
Which is fine, totally fine. On a first listen, that's totally fine.
So.
And some blend is good. Like, we were just talking about with Figure 8 how consistent the production is. And so how if something didn't fit that production, it would just feel weird in the album. So the consistency here may be in its favor.
True.
Now, I am pretty interested in what this next song is. It's called Rand McNally.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay, this is in 7.
On some stranger's floor, you tell these stories with happy light faith. I won't let
Is this the chorus?
Chasing me to roads into dawn. I won't let the light.
Favorite part of the section is definitely the guitar on the right. Real muted. Okay, so I mostly spent that digesting that because there's clearly a story to follow.
Yeah.
Music, yeah, it's in 7, which is cool. Especially once the groove comes in, it feels a little more interesting with the 7.
We lived on whiskey and Twizzlers.
Twizzlers are kind of gross.
I agree.
Weird they hang on the same chord there, not expecting that. Yeah, the contrast of the feel of these two sections is really nice and effective. Vocally, this part, I mean, he hit a nice falsetto there a second ago, like on that. But content-wise, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like, considering how good the storytelling is in the verses. His picking sounds nice, yeah. That's a cool chord there. I already know what shape that is. I love that one. Was this happening earlier?
No.
No, okay. Fits in well, but it was cool that's more noticeable at least. No. Okay, by far the best song so far.
Oh wow! I thought
Yes.
this one would be a sleeper for you.
No. I think there's interesting things in it for sure. I think there's enough interesting things. I think the lyrics on first listen are the most interesting. That B section, like I said, I'm mostly in it for the groove. It's a little underwhelming as far as the chorus.
I agree with you.
This is definitely not a song where the chorus it's not supposed to be a stadium chorus by any means.
Yeah.
So I'm not dogging on it in that way. I take it a Rand McNally Atlas is just a map, right?
Basically, and this song, Ben said that he wrote it for his past bandmates because other than Chris Walla, the guitarist who left, they had also a couple different drummers on the first couple albums, I believe, before Jason joined the band, and he was their drummer from then all the way till still now. So the storytelling in the song was mostly autobiographical about the band first, becoming a band in their early days and when they were younger and traveling and families and memories. So nostalgic song, but very specific to him and his past bandmates.
I think what makes it good is I think well, obviously, like we've talked about from it, like even if if I were to not like the lyrics, as long as you have a few standout lines or lines that just sound good with the track, then that's already a plus. But to have lyrics that have a cool story that you can kind of apply in your own sense or interpret your own way, relate to it in your own way, is cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to ramble on too long for this song because I think it's just really good. And This is one I'm excited to go back and listen to. But yeah, I will say I think this song, I enjoyed it twice as much as the other songs probably. All right, let's check it. Okay, very post-punk to me.
This album.
To me, this is a more convincing drive than even the second track, whatever that was. Or no, the third track.
Yeah, title track.
Good note choices from the bass. Curious to see where these lyrics are going to go to. Interesting. I want to know the measure from here to forever. I want to feel the pressure of God or whatever. Yeah, that whatever like keyboard sound that is. It's a good keyboard sound. Really nice picking. It all has that like, you know, feel to it. I was a little uncertain about this chorus the first time through because it's quite poppy or hookier. Got really quiet there. It got noticeably quieter in at just actual volume. Okay. Nice pentatonic licks. Yeah, this reminds me of something, those little guitar bits, yeah.
That's my favorite part of the song.
I wish they extended it. That they messed up. They should have kept that going longer. I do like that this chorus is still built upon. It's been built upon even from the second chorus. Like, there's more stuff going on. Oh, wow, that was a great song. Really like the layering there, too, by the end.
Wow, so really, I thought maybe your two least favorites were going to be this one and the previous song.
Oh,
so
no.
You surprised me.
No, this was like a really good modern-sounding post-punk song. I actually like the lyrics the most. If I had to do a on-the-fly, you know, I just heard it once sort of analysis of it, like, I take it like, you got, like, I think the big part that sells it for me is that I want to know the measure from here to forever. I want to feel the pressure of God or whatever. Because to me, it's kind of like he wants, like, to him, like, life, the lifespan, he doesn't have any, like, reference for it in the sense of, like, he doesn't understand the urgency to it. He has nothing that really... Like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm getting some vibe like that. Like, I like that it was building throughout, even if it wasn't as on the nose as track 2. Yeah. I really like that song. Takeaway so far is listen to the song if you haven't.
We go to
Foxglove through the clear cut. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, we're in 3.
There was a man who used to live by the ocean,
Okay, bro's talking.
but he never set foot in the sea.
Like, if you took away, like, the
Made him
vocals,
nervous that the water
this kind of seems like it could be, like, some, like, children background music for something.
on the edge. There was nowhere left to go.
Is this gonna be, like, kind of a bullshit story? Okay, so you got this building snare roll, the right side. You got this long descending guitar line on the left. Simple chorus refrain. Alright, let me hear where we go. Resolution.
As he quoted Black Kettle's death song.
Like the drum groove. I hope there's more payoff later. They do something like that later, and I hope it's even more explosive when they get back in. Well, I'm gonna have to find out who Black Kettle is after this.
And while the frontiers are ever
I like that it's a different lyric here for the refrain. Appreciate that. This is kind of interesting because with the drums so like pushed so far back, it almost doesn't feel as big as I would want it to be. Not that it has to be big necessarily, but I think for the impact it should. Wasn't no real build out of it this time. I mean, which makes sense. I like that guitar part. Gotta say, the guitars are layering very well on this album. They're like all these clean tones are just a hint of mod. Okay, back to drums building. Except this time it's in the verse.
where a forest once grew high.
It wasn't in the first verse, right?
No.
I gotta say, lyrically, I mean, the song's not quite over yet, but lyrically over, that's a pretty good ending. What is a funeral without flowers and 10,000 tombstones reaching for the sky? Okay. Outro. First, like, actual outro. Exciting. Okay, that guitar, doing the low stuff, that's tough. More little slow bends. Okay. Cool tone, cool tone. Okay. Okay, they don't give you that last one. They don't give you that last one, okay? I'm gonna have to sit on that one a little bit. I don't think it's bad by any means. I think it was good. I just think it could have been better in execution. I understand, at least I feel I understand the sound they're going for with that chorus with the really washy drums. But like with the builds they're doing with the snare, which is cool, I just want a little more in your face, a little more payoff, especially because the tracks we got before had more payoff in that way dynamically.
So what I will say is that on our first listen, I maybe have the same opinion as you, where I was like, there's something cool about this song, but there's also something that didn't connect with me.
It's not missing something. Don't get me wrong. It's not missing something.
Kept going back to it, and then I don't know, one day the music just clicked with me. Trust me, when you're listening to the song again by yourself, hopefully while you're not like doing much other things, you're not multitasking, and you have like at least your headphones in and you're listening to it. Once that second chorus hits, you'll get it, because in the first chorus, like you said, it's the snare roll, and the riff is played, but is not played like in your face. The second chorus, when the drums are fully coming in, even though I know you said they're pushed back a little bit, the riff is also played, in my opinion, a little heavier, and it really hits with me. And every time I hear the song now, it's that second chorus that I'm really looking out to. And then the last chorus hits, and it's just even a little heavier, and then that outro hits, which is by far the heaviest part of the song. I'm not going to go on and on forever about the song because I can. I think it's fantastic. It is, right now, it's my second favorite Death Cab song of all time.
Wow. I don't know what's more preposterous. That or Color Bars being your second favorite off Figure 8. That's also a crazy claim.
I just love the song. I love the spoken word bit. I think the older I'm getting, the more I'm liking spoken word, especially when there's like music involved. But I know it's not for everyone. Lindsay does not like the song. I think Tessa wasn't even impressed by the song. And she's the one person I thought would love the song.
Well, I think we're using the term spoken word very loosely. I mean, as far as like actual spoken word, this is pretty soft, but it is a spoken passage.
It
over
is
a song. So as far as music goes, I consider the spoken word.
I love though how there's a chorus where they sing.
Two for me is I don't love the lyrics as much as I love some of the other. I mean,
See, I'm the opposite.
With the last two songs, Here to Forever, I prefer the lyrics. I'm not sure if I would say I prefer. Rand McNally.
Yeah, that was the storytelling one.
Asphalt was the train one, right? Okay. Yes. I like the lyrics more in the last two songs. So I think maybe if I connected with the lyrics more, and that could happen through time. I don't think this is a first listen type of song.
No, you need to like.
It might go up the rank.
This is a genius one where you have to, because like there's a story.
It's too clever to get on the first listen. I get you.
The actual music was a riff that he recorded in like the early years of the band, like first album years of the band, and during the pandemic. He found like a demo tape with some riffs, and he found, I don't know what riff in the song it is. I don't know if it's the verse riff or the chorus riff, but he took it, and then he started with a story about a guy who lives by the ocean, but he's never set foot in the ocean because he's afraid of it. And as he starts like talking about, like, you know, this character in the song, he starts going through like more mortality, but also just about like life and about how things we fear and the things we put off. Black Kettle, if you look it up, he was like the leader of a Native American tribe, which is why you get the lyrics about of this great land where we never belonged. And it just, there's so many like sentimental things in this song that, and again, in the last verse, you know, we're getting the lyrics about the mortality, funeral. And I don't know, it's a song where I think there's more to dive into than Here to Forever. But that song is great. And the lyrics are great in that song. Don't get me wrong. That song is more like it is more of a pop song, and it's more of a radio song where it's like, here's the message. It's a little easier to get into. Where this song, it is a little poetry. And sometimes poetry is not meant to either be taken literally or to be connecting right away.
I think you're seeing the song more as this is a real clever, well put together song, where I'm right now seeing it more as a vibe track, believe it or not.
Yeah, and I think
not that it can't be both, but right now I'm seeing it more as a vibe track, and the vibe is not fully hitting me.
Yeah.
Which why, you know,
I wasn't expecting this one to be a highlight for you because actually with their fan base, people either hate this or love the song. So the fact that you're at least in the middle is good, because some people are just like, I hate the spoken word. I think it's cringy.
No, I thought he did a pretty good job delivering it.
Some people-
it didn't sound too forced, which is nice.
I know Lindsay doesn't really care for like the main riff that much, which the riff in the chorus is like, I love that riff. It's a riff that it's simple and it's one I wish I would have written. Like, it's
So
just
you tell
good.
me when the band first started, he wrote this riff. He wrote this children's music riff, and then 18 years later, when he became an adult, he's like, "All right, we can put it on an album now. Let's do it, guys."
I mean, like I said, I think the pandemic kind of put things into different perspectives for him, but
Yeah, no, not actually ragging on the song. Well,
Is
it's
it
called
Pepper?
So yeah, it's got some pep.
wait, it's
acoustic.
not playing for me.
That's nice. How do you say that? It's a purpose.
Don't try.
Shut the fuck up, man. I don't want to hear about Sgt. Pepper right now. Okay, I got a little distracted in the first part. Kind of same riff style as earlier. The acoustic's the highlight of the track, just that change production's nice. I like that little lead though, that's a cool sounding lead. The keyboard sounds great. I feel like this bridge feels more like a formality than actually adding something. Like, I feel like the bridge was an excuse to do a double chorus. Yeah, I mean, there was enough dynamics to keep it from just being a double chorus, but yeah, okay, that was my least favorite on the album.
Thank God, because it's also my least favorite. So I'm glad we agreed on one thing. And some people on the subreddit love this song, and Lindsay likes this one too, but it's just too poppy to me. There's not much to the song.
So, okay. And I'm only gonna nitpick and rag on it because I love Narrow Stairs. Ben's obviously, a veteran in his, era. Like, to me, this is just a very paint by numbers song. Like, but not even paint by numbers for Death Cab, as far as I know. It's just like very much like, okay, here's the verse, here's the chorus. Nothing was particularly interesting with the overdubs or the leads. Like, yeah, sure, like, the riff sounded all right, but it wasn't very memorable, and it definitely wasn't better than the first 5 times we've heard it on this record already. And I mean, I
don't even like the keyboard riff in the chorus that you said you liked. I don't like it.
I like the tone of it, yeah. I will say this. During this song, there was a point where instinctually I heard something which is like, okay, that's kind of lame. All right, well, let's, I don't want to just talk trash about this. But yeah, Pepper didn't really interest me. Well, it wasn't offensive, just did nothing.
Yeah.
I Am As Strangers. This is a title I'm excited for. Okay, a lot more urgency. Were those claps? This is the long division of the album.
But darker.
Well, yeah, but that's
minor-
why it's long division of this album.
Yeah.
It stands out because it's up-tempo and it has a more distinguishable riff. Okay, I like that. Always a big fan of those kind of... Yeah, highlights the progression well. That riff. That's a pretty good lead guitar part in this chorus, kind of connecting the lyrics. Good stop. Come on, guys, do something. Okay, I like the ethereal vocal harmonies, the tremolo guitar in the right ear. Very swirly guitar. Quiet, but swirly. Okay, Brian Wilson has entered the chat. Alright, this is convincing. Right here. This is a very vocally consistent song. I mean, I got the bridge, but as far as like the verses and chorus. Alright. I think I found the number 2 spot for me.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that one. I'm like, he'd be crazy not to like that one.
Yeah, so this was an interesting one. I think this one could have been even better as well. So it's kind of interesting because this song stands out right off the bat because it has a riff that is a little more unique than the other ones. Is it a crazy good riff? No. Is it crazy complex? No. Does it need to be either of those? No. So it's like enough, get you hooked, get you started. It's definitely one where it's got interesting lines and a lot of like kind of buzzwords, like cool things to hear. Like, you know, punk, leather, dumpstered, ground scored, battered and musty, dive bars. Like, it has all the buzzwords, which is a good thing because it keeps you interested. I do like that it's descriptive like some of the other songs, but it's also very much you could piece it together however you want, and I like that, and I kind of want to keep it that way. Now, okay, how could the song have been better? I think the bridge section was good, but I think the way it went into it was good. I think it hung out a little too long without really doing stuff. But once it got into the vocals and stuff, then I was feeling it. And then the way it kicked back in was awesome. It was the most lively performance so far. And that is something I'm missing a little bit with this record. Narrow Stairs, being not a as modern record, had more of that live sound to it. Both worlds are cool. But I will say I did appreciate about this. And this is why it kind of makes me feel like the long division of the album, because it's like a hooky. Well, it's not a super hooky, but it's a fast moving rock song.
Yeah.
One complaint I have about the album so far is it seems like a lot of the rock moments are mostly just fast eighth notes, which it's a great starting point. And that's why I liked with this song when the second guitar came in, it was doing a rhythmic strumming with a different feel than just the eighth notes. Just say I mentioned it being like vocally consistent. I think the consistency of the rest of the song is really good because it helps it, contrast from the bridge. And when you get back into the song, you know where you're at.
The next song is called Wheat Like Waves.
Now, yeah, more picking, but definitely different than the other picking. Good layers already. This one has a more unique... the rhythm feels a little different than the other songs. Boom, boom, pa. That was cool.
With tears in your eyes.
Oh, he sang a low note. Ooh. I really like how he's singing this song.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like it. I don't know. It just feels very intimate in a way. Is this the same section we heard earlier? Or?
No, it's slightly different.
Okay, I was gonna say this doesn't sound familiar. Very noodly keyboards over there. So is this the chorus then? Earlier, did we just get like a little random off section for the winners of?
Yeah, I don't think that's the chorus. I think this is the chorus.
Yeah, interesting.
It's a very weird,
structured song.
Structure, yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. That is a very hard to kind of on a first listen analyze on its own and kind of rate. Yeah, I mean it was a nice texture. It kind of felt like one of those songs that it's just there just to be there. It's not like obviously it's not formulated to be like, oh, this is a really nice pop song, but it's also a little bit too chill to feel like it's a song like trying to tell you something, like deliver a message. I know I'm kind of probably overthinking this and maybe missing it.
I think it's a fantastic album cut.
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna have to sit on this one before I can say more. I liked it on first listen, and I had mentioned I liked the vocal performance to listen to.
Yeah, and the next song was also one that they performed at our show for the first and so far only time, called "Fragments from the Decade."
Okay, slow intro.
Are splayed out on your floor like hundreds.
If they snap this song into place, I think I'm gonna really like this one. If they keep it more free like this, I don't know.
In photos, you were always staring through the lens.
A little jazzy chord, a little progression there. I heard that.
Some distant place.
Do it again. A lot of native and land stuff on this record. Come on. It's nice. It's not what I wanted, but it's nice. It's a really cool section with how the drums are kind of doing its own thing. It kind of sounds like there's really reverb, echoey kids screaming at a playground. Okay, second half of the song is doing the first line but different. Bro had to step out of the room to record the rest of the vocals. Yeah, okay. I tried my best to stay quiet during that one because the immersion is obviously a large part of this song. I liked it. It's another one I'm gonna have to really sit on. It's tough with this one. I liked a lot of things, but I also wondered if they took the song in a different direction, if I would have liked it more. Not a very strong melody necessarily, or not. I don't want to say it's not a strong melody. It wasn't the most standout melody on first listen, which is probably a good thing.
The chords in the song really submerge you, and
the chords are cool, even though it's like an even more dated piano or keyboard sound than on the Kiss Me song, whatever. It's the Pepper. Sorry, as far as I'm concerned, it's the Kiss Me song. Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool texture though, with like the wavery pitch kind of on like the synths, the real just swelling of everything. It kind of reminds me of that song off the Gore Downey solo record, the Coke Machine Glow. I forget what it's called.
The last track,
Insomniacs of the
World Good Night. Yeah,
it's another vibe track.
Yeah, it's
about
a vibe
the immersion. It's about putting yourself in there. So it just feels kind of wrong to dissect it in the same way. I will say though, when he brings up here on paved, walking a place where you don't belong, here on paved native lands, like that feels directly like a callback to the other song where he's talking about the black kettle guy.
Could be. I've never considered it, but
Fragments from the Decade feels like the ice is getting thinner. It's like the very emotional, sentimental song. This was obviously much more like free-form, open-flowing, spacey than the ice. I think we're going to get something acoustic, wholesome, major chord. I think so. It's called I'll Never Give Up on You, so what do you expect?
Well, then let's...
I swear to God, if there's strings on this... I was so fucking wrong. We got a dance track. I'm alright. I'm cool with that. Major chord. Okay. No, not just that one chord. Okay. I'm getting real Mr. Roboto vibes from the way they're doing that. Give up. Never give up. Okay, build up. Nice, okay. They're filling up all the empty space from earlier now. I kind of want to hate the never give up little part, but it gives good rhythm to the song, and I like that a lot better here than in the second track of the album. So we're not at a stop like
I'm a Strangers.
Yes, thank you. Nice. Okay, glad we were going down. I was hoping that. Keep going. Okay. And I feel like we had some unresolved business that we should have stayed on there a little longer, but okay. This reminds me of Pity and Fear.
Oh, that's what.
This melody.
This part reminds me of the Frames.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Interesting. So I was completely wrong with how they're gonna end the album. They're like,
I thought the same thing when I looked at the track list. I was like, I'll Never Give Up on You. This is going to be a ballad. It's going to be a ballad, and it's probably going to be major chord sounding, like you said, because it's like, but it's not the opposite, but it's more abrasive. There's electronics.
It's the most fun song on the album.
Yeah, I don't know. There's little hints there that are a little kind of mysterious to me.
Yeah, but I think that's what makes it fun, though. It's like the thing that puzzles me the most with this song, or it's most shocking, is kind of if you were to go on a chart here and do the dynamics on it, it seems kind of interesting because you have this whole intro that's committed to just the simple riff, a lot of space, one chord, and the last chord, and then boom, back, and then second verse you get the whole progression. So that's pretty standard. And then you get that bridge and, you're hanging on it and you're like, okay, come on, guys, do something. They do something before it's too late. But then they real quickly go back to the song. And then the song's over kind of quickly after that. They go to that outro, which is really cool, but I wish they hung on that longer. Because I was really enjoying that, or I wish they brought it in sooner. No, I definitely like that one. I definitely like that. That would probably be top half of the album. It would be, yeah, because it was fun, cool stuff going on. Um, yeah, I was not expecting that. That was cool. That was cool. Although I was wondering if we were gonna get a Pity and Fear type song as I was listening to this album.
So, Tony and I just listened to Death Cab For Cutie's album, Asphalt Meadows, for Tony's first time. I've heard the album quite a bit of times now. Now, I picked this album for Tony mostly just because, you know, I got into Death Cab because of our sister Tessa. She got into them through Narrow Stairs and through, some of the songs on the radio, like I'll Fall Into the Dark. And she played me Narrow Stairs one time on CD, and I, especially with the opening track, Bixby Canyon Bridge, I really fell in love. And then it wasn't really until like the last 7 years when I started like getting into the rest of the discography. And I'm still just really getting into their first couple albums. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of their more indie lo-fi sound on the first 2 albums, but I'm starting to warm up to it.
Is that a hot take?
Yeah, because a lot of people love the early Death Cab stuff. And I think a lot of people think they hit their peak with Transatlanticism. And then people like me will say they even hit a bigger peak with the following album, Narrow Stairs, which is the one album you heard prior to this album. So a lot of people are going to be saying, why wouldn't you show Tony Transatlanticism first? Or at least after Narrow Stairs, why didn't you just take him back to the previous album where they really started having their Death Cab sound that they kind of still have today? And mostly just because I think that album's a little overrated. The title track is supposed to be one of their best songs ever. I think it's overrated. I was disappointed we got that as the concert closer on this tour instead of Bixby, because Bixby was like usually the song they would end the shows with.
Bro, you got your nose all the way up in the air there.
I know. But Transatlanticism is a good album, and it'll probably be the next one I show you when we could do Death Cab, because you do need to hear, something a little older. And 2003 was like a big year for Ben because he wrote that album and the Postal Service album, which is why last year they toured. They toured as Death Cab and they did Transatlanticism as the whole album. And then they came back out as the Postal Service and did the whole Postal Service album in its entirety.
That's pretty neat.
We'll eventually do Postal Service, but it is... I don't know, if you liked this last song, I'll Never Give Up on You, you might like Postal Service because it's way more in that vein than anything else from Death Cab that you've heard. But anyway, I picked this album because, one, it's more recent. And Tony and I, sometimes we do older albums, sometimes we do like albums from the early 2000s, right? 90s. And I wanted to give him something recent. Also, this is probably my second favorite Death Cab album.
Wow.
When they released the first album without Chris Walla, Thank You for Today, I really got into it because I think at the time I had just like moved and I was just wanting like new music, and I really enjoyed it. And I was just like, okay, they're without their guitarists, they're adding 2 new members. It's going to be interesting. And I liked it a lot, but it wasn't until I heard this album where I was like, wait, that album's still good, but this is like fantastic in my opinion. And I'm like, this is an awesome album for it being their 10th album. And they've been going on now for, multiple decades. I'm like, this is impressive. There's not a lot of bands I listen to where they can be this many albums in their career and release something that I consider a top 3 album. For me, it's even top 2. So that's the reason why I chose this one over Transatlanticism. Plus, I just hate saying that album title and song title. It's a mouthful. But yeah, so some Death Cab fans are going to come at me and say, dude, you're showing him the worst albums. I'm just showing him what I want to show him. And a part of it is also just, I think you were going to have a more interesting reaction to this album than that album. But I think by now, when we do that album in the future, your reaction will be even more interesting than it would have been because you have these 2 albums under your belt.
Yeah. So I'll say this about the album. I would not call this a fantastic album. Now, Narrow Stairs, I would say, is a fantastic album. I think this was a good album, though. I think for being a band's 10th record, it sounds different than the one I heard. It still sounds like none of it really sounded like filler, except I think Pepper was just like way too safe and underwhelming.
I
Where
agree.
I would put it in the same category as filler, but it's
It's the Starbucks song to me.
yeah, that's a good way to. I'm gonna start using that. The Starbucks
Remember when
song.
Starbucks used to have you get a card and it'd be a free song you can download on iTunes? Eddie
That's unlocked
Vedder's
a core memory.
Eddie Vedder's lead single to Ukulele Songs, "Longing to Belong," was on one of those. And I'm
That
sure
is
if you
so
look in
funny.
my box of Pearl Jam memorabilia, it's in there.
Dude, you could totally sell that for like 20
$10
bucks, dude. Yeah. Wow,
Not
I
even
have
10.
more faith in
Yeah.
you in there. I think I meant to say cents. Okay. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, I mean, there was cool things on this record. Like, I appreciated in some of the more tame songs, they tried experimenting with some odd time. There's a variety between 3/4 and 4/4 as well. 3/4 is not like odd time, but I appreciate them taking the care to do these things.
Which they do on other albums, so this isn't like an outlier, I would say. But of course, you wouldn't know that only hearing those two albums.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the lyrics are pretty cool, like the storytelling and like descriptions on songs like Rand McNally, Here to Forever, Fragments from the Decade, Wheat Like Waves, I'm a Stranger. Those ones are all kind of my favorites.
Yeah.
Those ones I just listed. And there's definitely songs that I think will grow. Foxglove, I think there's cool things in Foxglove that I want to kind of unlock for myself. To be honest, the first few songs were just very kind of like mid for me. Not bad, not great, but on first listen, I'm not really looking forward like to return to them. Where some of the other songs, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't wait to sit down with that and
Yeah.
inspect it again, vibe out with it. It's interesting. I'm very shocked though that this is your second favorite because hearing Narrow Stairs, I feel like they had to have better stuff than this. Not because it's bad. It's not bad. I want to clarify that.
Yeah.
And these are very talented guys, and it's very clear. And the fact that they're still doing this stuff is amazing.
And there's a lot of fans that will agree with your statement, even though your statement is an assumption, not an opinion.
Mine is all speculation from a non.
And people will say that. People will say their first three albums are better than this. People definitely will say Transatlanticism is better. I kept forgetting Plans. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to either edit out the things I said earlier or just look like a dumbass because Narrow Stairs, it was Transatlanticism 2003. Then I think in 2005 was Plans, which had I'll Follow You Into the Dark and Soul Meets Body. Then 2008, Narrow Stairs. So there's an album in between.
2003, Transatlanticism, 2005.
Yeah. So I don't know why I keep forgetting about Plans. I just think an album like Plans, even though it's considered one of their best, it has slower, more acoustic songs where I'm just like, I don't know if you're going to jive with it. Narrow Stairs to me is their most rock album, which is why I gave it to you first. It's also my favorite.
Hang on. It's got what Sarah said.
Yeah, but that's not. It's heavy. It's heavy lyrically, no.
Well, no, it's a slow song, but I'm like, that was a good song, though. That was a good song.
No, it is, and some of the acoustic songs, like that, like "I'll Follow You Into the Dark," are songs that hit you really heavy with the lyrics and maybe even just like the simplicity in the music. But like, I don't know, I like sometimes they're more rock stuff, they're more upbeat stuff, and something like Plants and even Transatlanticism, like there's a couple good rock songs, The New Year and We Look Like Giants. But then there's a lot of slower stuff that I also love, like A Lack of Color and Passenger Seat. But I don't know, like I picked this one because, and I say this one is my second favorite because I think this one has good variety. Like you have your
really,
slow, I think so. I get what you're saying, where you're coming from. A lot of the songs, and maybe it's because of the production, has a similar sound. But, like, this album just has a little bit of everything I think they do well. They have the rock stuff, the fast stuff, like A Long Division with I'm a Strangers. They have epic outros, heaviness of like a Bixby Canyon Bridge with Foxglove Through the Clear Cut. They have their slower, sentimental songs like Rand McNally. And then their quirky stuff like Wheat Like Waves or I'll Never Give Up on You. I think maybe because it's a newer album, and I think they're trying to be a little bit more modern sounding.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing.
I could see where you're coming from, where you might say this has less variety than Narrow Stairs. And Narrow Stairs is my favorite, so I'm not going to disagree with you on that point. But
And I will say, I think I'm taking a look at the Narrow Stairs track listing. I mean, the variety on Narrow Stairs doesn't seem to be miles bigger than Asphalt Meadows, realistically. But to me, I think Narrow Stairs just, like, some of the songs were just, like, they felt as perfect as they could be. So,
and that was the one thing that you said a lot on some of these songs, where there were parts where you're like, I wish they had took it in a slightly different direction. I wish they kept going with that idea, where there was like the bridge on I'm a Stranger's, or the chorus on, I'll Never Give Up on You, or Foxglove, like, and those are fair points. And I think when we do these episodes and you're listening to a band that you've only heard one album from, you're going to be maybe a slightly more harsh or critical than I am. And the same thing goes when you give me an album. Elliott Smith now, like when we did last week's reaction, when I was editing the episode, I'm like, I was maybe a little harsh on some of these songs, but it's just because I have big expectations for him now,
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like with artists as talented as Elliot, as Ben Gibbard, and the whole band, I feel like there is more room to critique their work. Because if I didn't care about it, then I would just say it sucks.
Yeah, and like you said, there was only one song that you didn't connect with really at all. So the fact that 10 out of 11 songs,
and
you were able.
One of them was a straight miss.
Yeah, and I do think like the opening track and Roman Candles, I do think those are two songs that will grow on you. I hopefully Foxglove will too, because Foxglove is in a top 5 songs released in the last 10 years for me.
Wow. Yeah, I don't see that. I love how just looking at their album covers, you can tell exactly when Death Cab stopped being an indie band.
Yeah. Codes and Keys is probably, I would say, album cover wise, like, Kintsugi is cool, especially because if...
Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, wait. Clear on opposite ends of this. I was gonna say, I feel like once they got like album cover and titles wise, I feel like once they like got to like transatlanticism, then they kind of stopped. But like the first 3 albums look so indie.
Oh, they're for sure.
You have the facts, and we're voting yes. You can play these songs with chords.
Yeah, well, that one's like a compilation album of like the first 2 with some like bonus songs. Yeah, they do a cover of This Charming Man by the Smiths, and
okay.
But yeah,
band
the
we're never
first
going to talk about on the podcast.
The Smiths.
Yeah.
I don't care for that style of music, but Lindsay really loves How Soon Is Now.
I mean, who doesn't love that song? That song's awesome, dude.
I like the music. I don't really like
Great,
the
look
lyrics.
at that. Now because I said this, we're actively talking about them on the podcast. God damn it.
Well, I think this is an album that'll be a grower. I was not expecting you to like this as much as Narrow Stairs, so
I think though I will like the other albums you give me if there's more. I imagine this is probably gonna be lower ranked for me in their grand terms of albums once I get more into
we'll see. Belt. I don't know. I think you might like the production on some of the albums more, because again, most of the production was Chris Waller, the guitarist, the one who left.
Oh, so
he did Narrow Stairs. He did everything up to Kintsugi. And I think on the first couple albums it was like him and maybe another producer. But really him, and then I think later on him and Ben, they were really like the main producers, like Transatlanticism, Narrow Stairs, Plans. So that could be another reason why you might like those albums more than this one. But I don't know, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a curveball. Especially because I think the next 2 albums I have planned for you are artists that we have not really talked about on the podcast so far.
Oh,
so
wow, okay.
Just a little...
I know what one of those is going to be.
Which is what?
I'm not saying it.
What does it start with?
All right, it's Jack White. I know that's coming. I know Jack White's coming.
It is, but not the next 2.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, it's not. But yeah, I have teased that one. But
bring on the Ben Harper.
No, why are you always talking about Ben Harper? We will get to Ben Harper. It's gonna be such a letdown when you get to him now. It's the most
please, I just want a solid album. No, just kidding. This was a solid album, though.
Well, if you heard this album, please drop us a comment and let us know what you think about it. Tell me why I was wrong giving Tony this album instead of Transatlanticism. Don't worry, that'll probably be the next one when we return to Death Cab. And yeah, next week we're going to be back with Tony's pick, which he's also keeping a surprise. So I'm going to be on the edge of my seat.
I'm kind of torn, but either it's an artist I haven't given you, or it's going to be kind of an out-of-pocket album from an artist I've given you.
Out of...
That wasn't a play on words, you know.
No, I'm not trying to... I think I know an artist you're going to give me that you haven't given me yet, but I don't know what the out-of-pocket one would be.
I'll have to see. I'm not sure how evil I'm feeling. I don't know.
I don't think I was too evil with my pick, so you don't be too evil.
No, it won't be anything, bad.
All right, so yeah, we'll be back next week with Tony's pick, and until then, we hope you take care, and you'll be hearing from us soon. Bye-bye.